Hey guys, I am excited for today's project. We're going to be making an apron, so hop on and let me know when you're here. And I'm just quickly going to do my shares, and then we'll get started. Okay, if my computer will let me. So make sure you check in, and you can head over to the blog post. Hi, good morning, Cindy. You can head over to the blog post and pin that for later if you want to use it later. I'm just getting to my video. Hello. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's see. Just trying to get this to, doesn't want to give me the link. There we go. Okay. So, hi Tina, hi Marion. Just let me know where you're at. How are you doing? We went back to super cold weather last night, so that was not super fun. Good morning, Lisa. Sorry, just one second. Sometimes my internet is so slow. Hi Priscilla, good morning Agatha, sorry if I missed you. Good morning Lori. How's South Dakota? Is it freezing? I imagine it is freezing. We're pretty bitter cold here. Come on, fine, get it. It's like 3 degrees. Hi Leslie, good morning Lucy. My internet will perk up here once I get some of these shared and out of there. Oh, what's happening? That's not what I want to do. Sorry, I'm slow this morning. Snowy in Pittsburgh. Oh no, 9 inches of snow. Freezing. Lori, yes. We got like just really a small amount of snow yesterday, but it was like, it seriously like messed up everyone, and there was tons and tons of accidents. The roads were just so slippery. So I didn't even leave the house yesterday because I didn't want any part of that. I'm almost done. I've got 2 more places to share and then we'll get started. So in the blog post in the description, you can find this whole tutorial. I'm going to add a few tips and a few things that aren't in the post. Just because I always think of more things afterwards. Well, usually when I'm lying in bed trying to sleep, I think of more. Oh, I should have put that in there. And so I have a few tips that we're going to put in that we'll do. But you should definitely go there, and if you use Pinterest, save this so you can find it later, or share this video to your timeline so you can find it again, or you can tag your friends. I'm done with this. You can tag your friends so they can find us if you think they might want to sew with us. So good morning, Donna. Hello, everyone. Now you have my attention. I'm sorry. That's always the worst part, is that first couple minutes where I'm trying to get everything shared because I want to make sure all our friends can find us. So today we're making an easy apron, but it has pockets. So if you're wanting to dip your toes into like clothing, this is just my barely little pinky toe dipping right in to the pocket world. So you will know how to add pockets to like a skirt after this. I am in Illinois, southern Illinois, and it's very cold. It's like 3 degrees. So freezing. I think it's actually warmed up to like 10. But does it really feel any different? 10 and 3? I don't think so. So sorry, I'm still on my second cup. You know how I am before I'm finished with my second cup. Okay. So here's what we need. We're going to do, hi Cynthia, we're making an easy apron. So we need some things. Really all we need is fabric, and then I want you to get your mini wonder clips, some thread. I'm using a white thread that contrasts with my fabric. This is Heartland fabric by Pat Bravo for Art Gallery Fabrics. I've linked it in the blog post to an Etsy search for the fabric, and they've still got some on Etsy, even though it's an older print. I think it's from last year, the beginning of last year. So it's really fun. You know I love my geometric, kind of modern, and it's a really fun color palette. So this is what my main fabric. This piece measures 20 inches wide by 40 inches long, okay? So that's a fairly long apron. You could do less. If you wanted it to be a little bit less, you could do 20 inches long or wide, 20 inches wide by 30 inches long, and that will give you about a 15-inch long apron. So this is about a 20, I mean, it's gonna be this long when it's done. But we're adding pockets, and you know, you can size it up or down however you want. And if 20 inches wide is way too much, you could do it less, 18 or, you know, 15, whatever you choose. You could make it for a kid by sizing the width down some more as well. Okay, so this is the main fabric. And one more thing I want to say about the main fabric, you can make it in 2 pieces, so it would be reversible. So this will be reversible, but it has the same print on either side. Do 2 20 by 20 inch pieces and piece them together to make it different fabrics on front and back. So you'd have one square and the second square, and then just sew them together so that you have the 2 different fabrics. You could do that too, and it's reversible, different fabrics on either side. This will be reversible, but the same fabric on both sides. So that's the main piece that we need, okay? Then I've already ironed it because I didn't want to do it on camera. I have a piece this piece is 5 inches wide by 64 inches long. So again, this is a really long tie. It's going to be our ties, and it's very long. And if you don't have 64 inches, I've just pieced 2 pieces together so you can see. So I just sewed them together, and then press this. You'll press this in half, like so. And then you're going to press again each edge under 1/4 inch. So you've pressed this 3 separate times, and you've come up with something that looks like this. When you're done pressing, it should look like this with a nice clean edge, okay? Because you've got it pressed under there. So, but we're going to set that aside for now, but you do need that. You'll need that for, that's the last step, actually. We're going to start with pockets. So let's talk about pockets. There's 2 types of pockets, and the easiest pocket is a patch pocket. Sorry, I almost forgot the word. I'll make one just to show you. It's super easy. You can do some interfacing on it if you want it to be really sturdy, but I don't really carry around like huge heavy weights in my aprons, so I'm fine with not. So just what you want to do to measure for your pocket, your patch pocket, sorry, is you want it to be 1/2 inch wider and 1/2 inch longer, hello Wanda, than your finished pocket, because you're going to press each edge under by 1/4 inch. So we'll just do one just to show you quickly how it works, and I think you should use your rotary cutter. I'm going to use my scissors since I don't have my rotary cutter out, and I don't want to cut a whole piece. So let's see. I'm just going to cut a square. So for the front of this, since it's 20 inches, I think I'll make it 5 inches finished. Hello, Margaret. So 5.5 is about here. You should definitely do better math than I do, and we'll do it 6 inches wide or long. It's about here. Okay, and then you can just rip like that, and then when we get here, doop. Okay, so use your rotary cutter, or you can do it like that if you choose. So I've got a 6 by 5 inch square for my pocket, my patch pocket that we're going to do. If we're doing, let's just do both the pockets at this. Should we do them at separate times? Okay, so grab it, take it to your pressing board, and like I said, press everything under by 1/4 inch all the way around. This is my least favorite type of pocket, but they're super easy and anybody can do it. You can, the other ones are super easy too, and anybody could do it. But The other ones are more intimidating. One more, and I'm rushing. I'm doing it quickly because you know how I hate to make you watch me press things. I just don't think that that's very exciting. Good morning, Julie. Hello, Tanya. Okay. Hi, Vicki. So here we've pressed all of our edges under by 1/4 of an inch. Can you see that? Then take your apron and on the front, well, open it up because you don't want to iron. You could do this step after, but you'll see the seam on the back. So let's do it first so we don't see the seam on the back. First, take your pocket. This top that you just pressed under, we're gonna just sew that in place. Just the top edge. Just sew that seam in place and make sure you're measuring off the top of your fabric, not necessarily off of where it lands. I got it on super fast. Don't really want that. Okay. Now, the front of your apron. Good morning, Tracy. Let's trim this up. Just the threads, get those threads off. And you're going to line it up. How many times do I have to trim? Jeez. Okay. We're just going to line it up on the front where you want the pocket to be. And then you'll just pin it in place. And I'm going to try and line it up with that there. The reason it would be good to do this at the end is so that you know exactly where it's going to fall, but I mean, I like to do it so you don't see the seam. So I'm using pins. I don't always use pins, but for this I'm going to use pins because the clips just won't work. As much as I love them, they don't always work. So we've got it pinned down, and we're just going to go around the 3 edges. So leave the top open and go around these 3 edges, okay? And for this, I'm not going to use a 1/4 inch. I'm going to go as close to the edge as I can. But just make sure you're using the same distance for the whole way, okay? Am I good? And I'm just going to backstitch just a touch at the start. And then I'll pick it up and turn it and do the second. So this is called a patch pocket because you're putting it on just over the top like you would a patch. Then we'll do the actual like pocket. And if you've pressed really well, then you will have no issue getting this, getting these seams to lie flat. I kind of was in a rush, so I have a little wonky spot here at the top. But so here's a patch pocket. You can take and you'll just have to remember that's the front of your apron. Not that it really matters. You could have one in a secret pocket on the back side of the apron where you stash your cookies. So your kids don't know that you're secretly eating cookies. So there's our patch pocket, okay? Now let's talk about actual, like in a dress or a skirt pockets. So I've got one more fabric. This is still from the same line. And it's really cute. It's an owl. Let me see. Super cute fabric. So this is going to be my pocket. You could use the same fabric as your main print or a different one. You're not really going to see them, but you'll see a little peek of them. Then I'm just going to put my fabric, fold it in half. Right side's touching. Push this out of the way. And then you're just going to measure, well, we want it to go like this. Measure your hand. So you can do this, you could probably find a template online, but it's super easy to just use your hand. And your hand is going to be going in the apron, right? So you want it to be the right size for you. So, and just give yourself a good, I would say at least a good inch around your hand. Come on. Or half an inch. I always say that, and then I don't do as much as I say, around your hand. Okay, and you'll come up with something that looks like, can you see my pen mark? Like that. And I'm actually going to fold it one more time and cut 4 of them so that I'm cutting 4 layers. And you could use your rotary cutter. I'm just using my fabric scissors. And I'm just going to cut around that line that I drew. Probably should have been a little wider. Oh, I will show you the front of my machine, no problem. I do frequently turn it around because that's actually a request I get all the time. Hold on one second. I've got to, okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so now we've got 4 of our little pockets, okay? So we should have 2 and 2, like so. My fabric, like that. We've got 4 pockets. Let me show you my machine. This is my machine. It doesn't matter if you can cut straight. It really doesn't, because they're going to be inside. Nobody's going to see them. As long as your hand fits and you sew straight. Sewing straight is more important than cutting straight, okay? Here's the front of my machine. This is what it looks like. Yeah, so here's all the buttons. Wait, here's the buttons. Like, this is the start. This is the go backwards. This, since I don't actually have the pedal on, this is the speed. So it controls, like, it won't go faster than this. Like, that's really slow, that's really fast. So, and then this is where I change all my stitches. And this is where it tells me what my stitches are. So that's the front of my machine, if you're curious. Since lots of you frequently are. Which is fine. I understand. I'm right there with you. Okay. So, now, we're going to, no problem, Lisa. We're going to work on the front first. So this is the front of our apron. We're going to take one of our pockets and just, I'm going to measure, here it is. Measure down about 6 inches from the top. And that's where I'm going to place the top of my pocket, right at the edge of my fabric. So 6 inches. Oh, I got hairs on here, guys. I'm making an appointment. I'm going to chop off a lot of my hair. It's driving me crazy. Yes, I will show you my foot as well in 1 second. So I'm just clipping my pocket to the front, and I want it to face down because my hand's going to go into the pocket right here, okay? So make sure it's facing down. If it was up, that wouldn't really work. Down. Go to the other side. So this one is the match to this, so I'm going to put that one aside. Go to the other side and do the same. Line it up 6 inches down, about. Not about, I mean 6 inches. So right here. and clip that in place. It's a really awesome machine. I love it. And it's a good price, which is nice. So everybody can, I mean, it's one of the most affordable, and you definitely get your bang for your buck. It works really well. So I've measured down 6 inches, and I've clipped my pockets in place on either side. Okay, then we're going to flip it over to the back side. And again, measure down 6 inches from the top. Yes, so if you, I will give you the link. I have an Amazon store that, where I put everything I use. So if you're interested, you can go there, and I'll shoot the link in here afterwards. So now we're on the back side. I just ordered a bunch more off of Amazon too. They're multicolored this time, not just the blue and red. So, and really what you want is that you want this pocket to line up with the one on the back side. So you want them to, the front and back to line up. That's the most crucial part. You can also go to the blog post in the description above, and right at the top there I've linked my Amazon store. Yep, right sides together. So this is right sides together. And then last one, we'll put this other side on, making sure that it lines up with the one on the back. As long as these are, make sure these top corners are lined up, and then you can base it off the one on the back, or just measure down exactly 6 from the top on this side as well, and that should be the same thing. This is a shortcut that maybe you shouldn't take. Okay, so just clipping these, and just clip through the 2 layers. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so you'll clip through the 2 layers like that. Just the 2, I mean. So you should have 2 separate, ready to go. Let me scoot my machine over. I'll show you the foot that I'm using. Is this one. This is the one that it came with. It's nice, it has a kind of a clear so you can see. And this, wait, yeah. So that's the foot that I'm using. Okay, so it actually that one came with the machine. So now I'm just going to throw this in, use a 1/4 inch, and sew along this side of the pocket. Sew the pocket to the front of the apron, just along the one straight edge. No problem. I guess the machine needs to be on, like so. Okay. Oh, I was fiddling with that. Okay. And go to the next. Just as long as you get through all 4, doesn't really matter how you get there. I've never had any problems with the feed dogs on mine, Jessica. Whoa. I pressed the wrong button, but it's okay, we're ready. Okay. Are you pulling at all when you're sewing, or are you letting it just go on its own? You might, if you're pulling, that might kind of mess with the fabric. I'm always careful to just kind of let the machine do all of the work. And then it depends what kind of fabric you're using as well. Like if you're using a certain fabric, especially like a slippery fabric like minky or something like that, you might need to be using a walking foot because that will really mess with the feed. A walking foot will feed it from the top and the bottom. So sorry if that's information you already know. You never know what anyone's level is, so of course I don't mean to insult, just thoughts that are running through my head about that. Okay, so we've got now you can see we've got our pockets sewn to the sides on all 4 sides. Hi, Ken. And then now what we're going to do is take our apron and put it right sides together. Yeah, you might, I'm not sure. Might be slipping. It doesn't sound like it if it's just cotton. Okay, now we're going to line up. So right sides together, and the parts here, the big part to line up here is the pockets. So make sure that the pockets line up. Like so. And then clip everything in place. And I like to clip right on the corner where the pocket is, and then on the bottom corner as well, because I want those to stay in place. If I can get in here, and I did. And then I'll put like one on the pocket. And you can do one up top too, if you like to clip a lot. So here's how I've got it clipped here, here. You can clip more around the pocket if you choose. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Make sure that our pockets are lined up. You could also I would go, maybe Jessica, go online and onto the search for the manual for the machine and do some troubleshooting. They have lots of troubleshooting, or just in your regular manual, you could see if there's any troubleshooting for that issue, or you could call them. I'm sure they'd be great about helping you. And maybe it's just your machine. I'm putting in 2 pockets. Yep, one on either side. So both sides will have a pocket, like an actual clothing pocket that you put your hand in. And we did a patch pocket on the front. Yes, Leslie, so I will give you the link to my machine. That's exactly why I bought this machine, because I wanted it to work for kiddos, and my son is handicapped, and so he wanted to learn to sew. So all you have to do to make this machine go is press this button right here to start and stop. Press this button to go back and forth. It does have a pedal that you can attach, but I haven't been using it just to get the feel for not using it. But you can use it pedalless, and you just press this, and this will control the speed. So you can make it go really slow if you want to make sure that it's slow. You can go really slow by turning it on super slow speed and just pressing the button. That gives you, all you have to do is worry about feeding and moving the fabric. So that's one of the main reasons I got this machine, because I wanted to try it out with my son too. And I'll give you a link to the machine. Once I'm done here, I'll go back through and throw in some links. Okay, so then we've got it all clipped together. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight down. Let me show you. Straight down the side. And when I get here, I'm going to go around the pocket and down. I'm not going to sew straight here, because that will close our pocket. Okay? I'm not sewing there. I'm just going to sew around the pocket and down. And I'm going to do that on both sides. A waterproof apron. Oh, somehow I got to stitch number, how did that even happen? Maybe I was holding something. What? I totally just, there we go. Janked with my machine. Okay. Well, you can actually buy waterproof fabric. You can buy, what's it called? Like an oilcloth you can buy, or you can make it waterproof by ironing on some iron-on vinyl. We did some work with that before. So there's a couple different ways you could make it waterproof. All right, so I'm just going to sew straight down and around the pocket. And this is where you don't have to worry about if the pocket is exactly straight. Just make it so straight around and you'll be fine. It'll make up for any sort of crooked cutting you did. And you're not going to see those edges, so it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to stop and turn. Well, thank you, Leslie. I'm always looking for accessible ideas. We try not to let anything stop us. So I'm just slowly turning the pocket as I go. Pick it up. I think I put some iron-on vinyl in my Amazon store. I'll go look, and if I didn't, afterwards I'll put it in there, and then I'll shoot you the link to the Amazon store. Because we used it, and I think I put it in there when we used it. It's one of my favorite things. I love it. So now I'm just sewing straight down. Speed it up a little bit to get through this part. So see, I just do the little toggle to make my machine go faster. And then you press the button to stop. Oh, so fun. She'll love it. Your 4-year-old will love it. It's so fun to sew, make little things. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we've sewed all the way down and around our pocket and closed that up. And see, it's not super, like, mine's not even super straight, but we have a straight line, so our pocket will be straight. I'm all about faking it. Okay, we'll just do the same. We're going to go down and around our pocket. Let's see. And I probably don't want that super speed, but we'll go fast. Get up and turn it. And pockets are great because it doesn't even really matter if they're even. Like, this pocket doesn't have to be the same size as the other pocket because who's going to know? You're just sticking your hand in it. Nobody's going to see that they're not exactly the same size. It's kind of nice. Wonky there. Let's see here. There we go. And then down this side, and we'll be done with that part. And we've got one more bit. So, now, you can trim up your pockets if you want. You don't have to. All we're going to do is turn this out. And you notice I didn't sew anything on the top. I left the top totally open. We're going to close it up now. You don't have to pull the pockets out. They stay in. But you can see, here's our little pocket hold gap. My rings are getting caught. So we've got our little pocket in there now, which is fun. We've got one on either side. I don't know that I've ever seen an apron with pockets, but I was like, it's fun, and it's a fun technique. We've never done pockets, so I'm just pressing the bottom corners out because this is my last chance to be inside the apron. And I'm just going to press these edges here to make it nice and clean. So before I press, I like to just roll kind of with my fingers. Roll it out, make sure my pocket is nice and tucked in. Make sure everything's straight, and then I'll just press that edge down. My iron did turn off, so it's not super hot. Don't have a nice straight pressed edge there. And I usually do it at the beginning, my disclaimer, like, this is just the way I've come up with to do this. There are many, like, millions of aprons and types of aprons and ways to make an apron. So this is just one fun way to make an apron. So feel free to do it your way. You don't have to do it my way. Okay, so we've pressed it. Now we're ready to grab our straps that we had earlier, remember? Now here's a tip that we're going to do that wasn't on the blog post. I want you to, so it's pressed and ready, I want you to just take this edge and fold it like this, right sides together, and just sew one seam right here on both edges. Okay, so we're just going to sew that so it's already closed and we don't have to worry about it later. This is just cotton. This is quilting cotton. You could make these out of canvas. That would be cute and heavy duty, durable. So if you're actually, like, can you tell I don't actually wear an apron? If you're actually going to be wearing the apron and using it and getting some good use out of it, you could do it out of canvas. And then, you know, you could add cotton pockets or canvas even. It's up to you. So I'm just going to do this seam right now. For the other one, I didn't do this, and I think this is going to be better. Yeah, put some clips in. I'll show you where you could do that. Like right now in just a second will be a good time to do that. Then I'm going to close this other edge, right sides together. I'm leaving my seams pressed up, so that kind of closes those off, those edges. And I'm just going to sew this in place and start at the seam edge so that those stay lined up. Because if you start at the pressed edge, it might wiggle. Again, just like so. That'll save us some time at the end. Oops, I keep doing that. There we go. Okay, so now when you turn it, it'll turn out and you have the edge of your tie. And just take your, whatever you use to get that edge nice and flat, okay? On both sides. Okay, so now we want the back of our apron. And take our piece, our ties, or straps, what are we calling them? Ties, or apron ties, fold it in half. And if you piece them together, you already know the halfway point. My halfway point is where I pieced them because they're exactly the same size. But fold it to find the halfway if you didn't piece them. And fold your apron to find the halfway mark. That way our ties will be even on either side. And if you give it a good finger press, or an actual press is fine, to give us that, to tell us where that middle point is. and keep it. You can mark it with a pin. You can just remember it. You can actually press it in. The middle of your tie is going to line up with the middle of your apron. Open, so we pressed it, but we're opening it up. And line it up with the top. The whole, it should look like this. And you'll have some hanging off either edge. That's fine. That's the point. That's by design. And then clip it in place. Okay? And you should clip through all 3 layers. So you should clip all the way to the front of the apron. Like so. You can use more if you choose. So we've got, it's all the way open. Our tie is right side down. So this is the right side of the fabric. It's down on the right side of the apron. That's facing up. Now, the good thing is use the seam that you pressed in. That's where you're going to stitch. Stitch right there. We already know it's 1/4 inch, right? We're going to stitch there and just start here at the top of your apron and go to the bottom of the apron. So don't do the whole tie, just where it's on the apron. Backstitch a little bit over that where it meets the apron, just to make sure. There, the back too. One more. Okay, and then we're ready for our last bit. And if you're going to add ties or hooks, this would be where you would add the hooks. So you can press the seam if you want, right here. So press this, bring your fabric up and over. And then we're going to use our presses, the presses that we already put in, fold it back in half. And then this one will press is under too, so we have a nice finished edge. Let me pin it in place and then I'll show you so that you can see a little bit better. Oh, and you'll have to use pins since clips don't really work in this situation. Okay, let me do a couple so that you can see. So you can see we've just folded it under where we pressed it and we're pinning it in place. So here, see it's pressed, we just push it under and then pin along the way once it's pressed under. Okay? So it's kind of like binding. We've kind of done a binding. And just make sure that your 2 pressed edges here on the ends are going to line up because we're going to sew the strap together as well, the ties. I'll call it 5 different names before we're done. So let me just fix this so that it's lined up correctly. Okay, so if you want to add some ties or some, what was the word you used? If you want to add some clips, you could attach them here now. So I have a piece of scrap fabric somewhere. Let's just pretend like this was your tie fabric. It's huge, but it wouldn't, or your clip fabric. You could pin it in right now. Pin it here, and it would be much smaller. You'd have a loop to hang stuff off of, and then sew it in place when you sew this stitch seam on. this is obviously, I'm not going to sew that in, but you could do tiny little tabs like this, fold it over so that you could hang things on the front. Okay, does that make sense? I'm just going to pin a couple more times, and then I'll show you the last bit to finish it. So it's not our quickest project we've ever done, but I mean, it's not too horribly time consuming either. So then just kind of push this out of the way. Now we're just gonna, I'm gonna use clips, but mostly this should stay in place. So now we're just gonna line up our edges on this that we've already got pressed in place. So we're just gonna line the edges up to make sure everything's good. And you can pin them to keep them in place. You can give it one more press if they don't seem to want to sit down. And almost all of this is in the blog post. There's a few little, like I said, a few little things that I changed. Like I didn't put the patch pocket on the blog post, and I didn't, or maybe I did actually, but I didn't do one. And then this wasn't there, that little trick to do that first. This doesn't want to stay. Okay, and do the same on the other side of the ties. So we're just gonna clip them all in place. And if it's not 100%, this top seam isn't, the press that you put in the top isn't exactly working, that's okay. We can repress that. Just make sure the bottom two line up. The most important part is this bottom bit, that lines up, and then you can repress the tie to be straighter. I'm out of clips. And last bit, like so. One more, and then we'll finish it. Okay. So, I'm just going to start. I want to sew on the front, so I'm going to start at this edge of my strap, and I'm going to sew as close to the edge. Hi Gina, no problem. Save it to your wall, and then you can find it. You can go back and watch it. Once I'm done, it'll be on there for you to watch the whole thing. So I'm just going to start right here at the edge and go all the way to the other edge of the tie. And I want to sew as close to the edge of this as I can to make sure that we really catch everything. Okay? Don't want that fast. Sewing my hairs into it. So there's all types of materials you could use. You could do just about anything. This is cotton, just quilting cotton. You could use a canvas for a little heavier duty. If you are good with leather, you could do one, not this pattern probably, but you could do one with leather. If you're looking for more like of a work apron. Okay. And that's it. You can't see. So that's the whole thing. And then just, you can trim up your threads wherever you seem to have them. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe the apron got bunched up a bit. So here is our finished apron. Like I said, it's a little bit long. You could do less length to make it a little shorter, but you can see we've got, where is it? Our pockets here that are in our apron. So now you have an apron with pockets. Pleats. We can do pleats another time. That would be, I will put it on the list. This would be cute pleated. So here's our other pocket over here. And then we've got our nice, really long, oh, here's the patch pocket that we did right there. So you can put things in the front if you choose. And here's our nice long straps to tie it on. The nice thing about the straps is you can make them whatever length you want. You can just repress. You'll probably need to repress this here. I know, it's funny, I actually have made a fair amount of aprons and I don't ever wear one. I'm horrible about it. Like, I don't really love cooking. So I rarely use an apron, but I like to make them because they're fun. So that's the whole thing. And everything is in the blog post in the description. If you missed it, or if you are more of a take your time, read about it learner, I will throw this video onto YouTube and put that in the blog post too. So if you pin the blog post, you'll be able to find the video too, because it'll be there. So I'm going to throw in the link to my Amazon store for you guys. And I'll give you a link to the sewing machine too, which is great for kids, for special needs. I love it can be foot free, which is really nice. I like that it's accessible. I love to support accessible things. Oh, it bumped me off. But I will see you guys again on Wednesday, and we will make something else. So I hope you have a great day. Bye.